All right, all right. Open up those gates. Here come the people. Let me make sure I've got my Q&A and chat rolling as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here is, all right, my favorite game to play in these awkward moments before the actual webinar begins is who stayed up or got up the latest to be here. And of our illustrious panel, our speakers, I'm tempted to say it's got to be Lisa. Lisa, what time is it where you are? Well, although you jet set so much that I never know where Lisa's dialing in from.
It's 7 p.m., but I did not get up the latest today. I mean, maybe out of all of us, but it was an early bird today
So you're
on my
burning it on
time
both
zone.
ends. You're
Yeah.
up early, up late, delightful. I believe actually, I'll bet you when Aoife, you rolled in. Maybe I think you might win this time. How late is it where you are? And tell the people where you are.
It's also 7 p.m. and I am in Ireland.
Living up to the brogue. I also had to Google that to make sure I spelled it correctly and use that's my big secret all. Oh, well, I'm going to do a little bit of a dance here as we wait for everyone else. I see, David giving out a hey, hello, hi. Any of our participants want to try to give Aoife or Lisa a run for their staying up late, showing how much they care, their level of commitment, run for their money. I don't know. We should have prizes. I should send out cookies. If y'all don't know about Wonder Kicks, this is one of my favorite brands. Amazing cookies that I got gifted to me about 6-7 months ago, and I've just fallen in love with them since then. Oh, good. Ben coming in on brand. Oh my gosh, dude, with a writing assistant, Mr. Parr. I don't even know if that's real, but that is amazing. If you all don't follow Ben on the Twitters, the LinkedIn, and especially the TikToks, oh my goodness, from Octane AI, that guy is dropping AI heat, and I can't believe you sent a bot here to talk to us. That is delightful. Oh, all right. Well. I'm going to give it one more breath just to make sure we don't leave out any stragglers, and I'll jump into this, our AI e-commerce, one thing to drive real results in e-commerce. All right. I'm going to breathe deep, and 1, 2, 3. Let's get rolling. Hello, and welcome to the one thing to drive real results with AI in e-commerce. We have such an illustrious group of presenters today. I am not even going to waste your time introducing them one by one at the top. Instead, I'll drop some compliments, make sure you know their names as they each take the stage to present today. What I want to stress is we're doing things a little bit different if you've been to one of our one things before. Typically what I do is throw down the gauntlet on our speakers, and also a little bit of gauntlet throwdown for our participants. Basically saying, if you don't leave here today with at least one takeaway, one practical takeaway to make your e-commerce business 1% better, we will have failed you. Nay, you will have failed yourself. Now, this is still true in that each one of our presenters has been tasked with giving you a single principle, a big idea, an application, followed by examples to bring that to life with results. But we're also going to spend about half of our time today really trying to field the Q&A on a topic like AI, where there is so much heat and often way more heat than there is light. So I am incredibly excited to get to have a co-host with me today, Blake, a king among mortals, CMO at Caro. He's the voice behind 2%, the podcast, which is actually the correct way you say it. Let's make sure that people can hear your voice. Blake, are you here with us?
I am here. I'm so excited for today.
So Blake is going to be collecting your questions. We had a few that already came in via email and on the socials where this was shared. He's going to be collecting all of your questions. There's a Q&A tab that you can drop them in along the way. He'll bring those back up throughout the second half, tee them up to anybody who gets asked anything in particular. So please do, as questions come up, jump in, let us know what you're thinking and what you want to hear more about. Hey. With all of that being said, and without further ado, I would like to invite our first presenter to the stage, a man who needs no introduction, but I'll introduce him anyway. Ezra, CEO of Zipify et al. Across the brand fronts, Overtone. I know there's another one I'm not thinking about. Let's just call you the OG in the room. Ezra, can the people hear you?
Yes, I hope so. Can you hear me?
Coming through loud and clear. Good, sir.
All right.
Take it away.
Thank you. Happy to be here. I'm gonna be quick today. My principle says increase average order value with dynamic offers because that's what my app using AI allows you to do. But I'm on the fly after listening to the intro and thinking about AI, going to change my principle a little bit, which is, you know, AI is like this term that is a buzzword and it's hot and everybody is talking about it, but a lot of people don't actually understand it. And so I want to just spend a second on AI. So it's an umbrella term for essentially software that mimics like human cognition. And what I would assume most of the implementations of this within software actually is a subset of AI called machine learning. And machine learning basically uses algorithms that are trained to analyze data and produce models and then perform tasks based on those models. And so my sort of big principle is embrace machine learning and split test it against your static operations. And so let me explain this. Let's go to the next slide. So the way that my app uses machine learning is we do it based on your order history, right? So we're an upsell app and we're making relevant targeted offers to a user as they go through the sales process. That's on the product offer page, in the shopping cart, in checkout, post-purchase, thank you page, in email, et cetera, right? And generally, historically, before the implementation of what everyone is calling AI because consumers understand that, but actually what is machine learning in software, what you would do is you'd create a static funnel and you'd say, hey, if somebody has product X in their shopping cart, show them product Y, you know, as an upsell, or show them, you know, if someone's shopping cart is valued at over $75, show them X. If it's valued at under $50, show them Y, right? So you had this ability to create these kind of like static models. And what AI allows us to do, or machine learning rather, is it allows us to parse big data. So we can take your entire store's history and all the stores in our app, and we can look at all those data and all that data, and the machine learning model can say, hey, based on this data and the data of all the other stores, here are the offers I think your store should make at a given time during the sales process. And you can split test this against your static funnels. And also the model itself is constantly training based on the data that comes through. And so my suggestion to you is, hey, use our app. That's cool, you know, but embrace machine learning and the usage of it and test it against your static sort of, you know, ways in which you've done like recart text messaging, right? You would do like, you just build out a flow. Now you can do, and you're going to talk about this, Aaron, a fancier flow that uses machine learning and AI, you know, language modeling, which let's go to the next slide here. One other thing that we have in our landing page builder app is an AI language model. And basically what it does is it allows you to, you know, you could put in a sentence, or you could ask it a question, or you could say, write me something about this, and then it will rewrite it, it'll simplify it, it'll shorten it, it'll make it longer. You can like basically take a chat GPT sort of, and this is the most common implementation into software at the moment, which is essentially a WYSIWYG, you know, language model. And they're actually awesome. I was a little bit against it because I was kind of like, you know, it's not going to be that good. And now I'm using it all the time. So, you know, let's pump to the next slide here. My suggestion for you, with my app in particular, but across all of your apps, is to split test the AI machine learning models against your manual models and see if they win, because a lot of times they will and sometimes they won't. And then the last thing, I know I was only supposed to give you one thing, but give you a second thing, which is, hey, if you're not using these language models to optimize your sales copy, you're missing out because they're really freaking good. And I was sort of skeptical myself as a copywriter to embrace them, but I've fully embraced them now. And most apps have them. We have them. And rock and roll. Thanks for the time.
Embrace, split test, put it against the control. And I want to stress that. I almost wanted to say it again and just interrupt you, because that has been absolutely foundational as well in the test that we've been running. It's that trust and verify, but just let it freaking do its thing, because humans are terrible at predicting creative winners. This is true across the ad funnel. I saw that over and over again on the agency and brand side, but what a great 1-2 combo. All right, in and out. Next up, SJ, Partner Marketing Manager from Just Uno. That is a lowercase u, people, in case you ever wondered or had a doubt about it. SJ, give us a holler and start rolling.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was great stuff, Ezra. I'm happy to follow you up. My principle is on targeting visitors and optimizing the omni-channel conversions that you're focusing on. I know conversions can mean many things. I'm definitely talking about like money in the bank, not email conversions, SMS conversions, and just getting that data. So I will specify that. And this is a really sweet spot where AI can fit in, and it allows us to target those VIPers that are in our group. And we're targeting them with that AI-driven product recommendations, just like Ezra was elaborating on, utilizing those tools for like your copy leads into those recommendations being really primed up for the right audience. So click, please. I'll go into the application side here of getting through to that optimization world or optimized world. So this is a formula that I've used with clients. It's like my go-to when I'm just feeling kind of tripped up, and it's my go-to for targeting that on-site visitor. It's a combination of AI recommendations, whether it's product, reviews, a mix of self-identification information that we know, whether just by asking or first-party data or zero-party data, and then source info. So where is someone coming from in that visit to your website, or where did they come from on their very first visit? For example, if they were coming from an influencer post, that's someone that is a little more engaged with that world, right? So it could definitely influence what you're recommending and what you're just initially saying to them to recommend. All of that combining into conversion optimized omni-channel, which is a little wordy, but it means that they're able to purchase comfortably wherever they feel like they can, and they're getting that engagement with you as a brand. So here I've got 1 through 4. These are the self-identification, the top self-identification points that I'm usually targeting with clients and just really focusing on in that VIPer group. And it comes down to if someone's a subscriber, if they're logged in on your website and therefore like they've been on your site before, we're remembering that information in terms of points, what they've purchased before, reviews that they've left. If they're a member versus a non-member, which I know there's that whole conversation of like membership versus subscription. So it's like, where does that fit in with how you would recommend to them next? And then we've got order history and survey history. So just like Ezra was pointing out, like you're able to take all of that data that you have and really test against what just you as like a founder or just the person utilizing the tool is thinking. And in the end, I feel like it doesn't have to always be one or the other. That can lead to like the most perfect mix of AI and like recommending something. So I'll go to my next. Yes, thank you. I've got some examples here. And these will point out just different ways that you can be like subtle or a little more aggressive in your AI recommendations, which to me, that's kind of the world I'm in. It's like all these tools have great AI features that we can use, but it's like, okay, we shouldn't just be throwing all AI at everyone. It should be really strategic in where we place it. So you'll see here on the left-hand side, I've got a coupon code that is allowing for a really frictionless checkout because we're getting the coupon code in email, then we're showing it in the banner that matches the exact coupon code. And then knowing that we're showing this coupon code from the email campaign or just by UTM tracking, we can then curate the perfect product recommendation, whether it's on a product page like Ezra was mentioning, or at key touch points of exit and cart abandonment. And then the third example there, you'll see on a tracking page. So post-purchase is that customer lifetime value conversation that we're getting into. In the middle, you'll see thank you. You'll see we've got these self-identifier questions here where we're saying, do you want 20% off the best foundation? We also want to learn a little bit about you. Right after this screen, we're showing a product recommendation based off of what they chose. So to me, that's more real-time recommendation. And then on that third example I mentioned, that's post-purchase recommending something just for you on a nice branded tracking page. And that is more like following them along their journey. So a little more in your face, right? But we've like waited until now to show someone this. So click, please. Thank you. So I'll leave you with this. We want to ask at least one question to personalize a visitor's omni-channel experience in real time. And that one question, like depending on how much traffic you're getting to your website or to your other channels, that can be something you switch out weekly, monthly. We're getting into holiday time. So I'm like, try anything right now, see who was a gifter last year. Who do they think they're buying for this year? Just gather that data that you can retarget.
One thing with at least one question. I love me some simplicity and to the point. I also really appreciate taking a word like omnichannel and just saying, listen, we're talking about making it easy, smooth, no matter where they come from, to be able to identify where they came from and take advantage of that information. That's a great way to break down a really meaty, chunky word like that. All right. Well, our next presenter, unlike our first presenter, does need an introduction. He is not an e-commerce expert, but he plays one on the internet. That is myself, Aaron Orndorff from Recart SMS. And my principle is going to be unlocking personalized texts that drive 1.5 to 2x more revenue. And I realize, especially if you're here in the room as a retention marketer, email, SMS, lifecycle, I'm pushing on a really sensitive possible bruise already that you shouldn't be sending the same message with the same offer, the same copy and creative to different subscribers. And it's a pain point that you just can't get around due to resource constraint. The place this reaches its fever pitch is as we head into the holidays. Perhaps there's some testing that's going to be going on towards the end of Q3, leading up into Q4. But what almost always happens, especially with a channel like SMS, is the big day comes and you end up basically giving the same message to the person who has never purchased from you, to the person that's your VIP. And so I want to help you end that guilt in just a few slides. And to do that, I want to introduce you to Recart's AI SMS campaign builder. And it all starts with a very simple goal. In this case, we're using a test account that you can actually jump into for yourself, live, real time, play around with it, enter your own inputs. We're using Fiercely, which is a risque, empowered women's fashion brand, to go after something like summer nights, 30% off lingerie, ends Friday. It's that simple of an input. Driven by a brand identity, specific rules that come down to character count, use of emoji. You're going to get a variety of base campaign text to choose from. You can regenerate these, you can edit them directly. And then here's where the magic comes in. The magic is all around audiences for personalized messages that are synced directly to your subscriber base. That's identifying them typically by life cycle stage. Now, if you sell a variety of products, that's another way you can do this. Some of the pet supplier brands we're working with are going through things like cat purchase, dog purchase, bunny or hamster purchase. In this case, it's just going from cold, interested, new customer, VIP or fierce fam member, calling out that group specifically, and then lapsed customers, people who haven't purchased in the last 180 days. Right? Now, what does that look like? It comes to life in easy to edit, clearly differentiated messages to each one of these audiences. Very quickly, cold is always going to be the shortest. And I'm almost tempted to say, if you take nothing else away from this, don't even worry about using the tool and experiencing for yourself. Just think about the best practices as it relates to the various audiences. Cold is always the shortest. Get in, get out, give them the offer and move on. Keep it to 140 characters or less to make room for that link so that it's always a single SMS to keep your budget tight. Interested is for people that have clicked a previous message or abandoned a cart. In this case, we're experimenting with always opening with a question and highlighting things like the 5-star reviews or the fierce fam faves to add social proof to people that haven't gone all the way yet. New customers, people that have purchased in the last 60 days, here, we're giving it a little more room to breathe and highlighting subtle changes in the verbs like add to the looks you already adore, speaking to their relationship with the brand itself. VIP is always going to be the longest message because these people have the highest tolerance because they have the highest brand affinity. We're taking the same big idea of summer nights, the 30% off, but we're seeding it with Fierce Fam exclusive. VIPs get early access, cop your new favorites before anyone else can snatch them. And then the lapsed customers are always going to be the second longest, almost the shortest, excuse me. A little bit longer with the line breaks, but still trying to get in and out very quickly. Now, if you don't like any of those, you can regenerate them. And then you're off to the races. When I say off to the races and I say 1.5 to 2x more revenue, these are those versus the control sends we're doing one message to all subscribers or engaged subscribers versus the personalized groups. This is coming from real results from some of our largest brands that are already implementing this. So if you do nothing else, the one thing to take away is that AI results don't come from writing assistants. They come from treating people like people. Now, to keep that personalization train rolling, our next presenter is Mia, Head of Tech Partnerships from Triple Whale. Mia, can the people hear you?
Hello, everyone.
Have at it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Erin. Hello, everyone. I will be sharing with you all about one thing to drive real results for your brand using AI. And that one thing is to use AI to personalize your customer experiences. Next. So why is a personalized experience crucial? Well, the reason why is because 80% of customers are more likely to make a purchase when they are given a personalized experience. So this is why knowing who your customers are is so important. And we're all consumers, so I'm sure most of us can agree with this, right? Like all of us have experienced, an out of this world brand experience, and all of the ones that I can think of that I've had with brands, especially pre-purchase, have all included some sort of personalized aspect where I really thought to myself, wow, this is exactly what I was looking for and what I wanted. But now the question really becomes, how are you supposed to personalize an experience if you don't know who your customers are? So this is why you should use AI to segment your customers into groups based on customer attributes, actions or lack of actions that they've taken with your brand, ads that they've clicked on, etc. So here's an example from Triple Whale of some of our AI generated customer segments. You want to target your most loyal customers differently than how you would target your newbie customers, right? And I also love that I'm presenting on this after Erin, because while you're segmenting and targeting the right customers with Recart through your SMS, now you can target your right customers in your ads by using Triple Whale segments. Next. So here we have an example from Opti about why it's so important to target the right customers with the right messaging. So they sell different wellness and health products like supplements and protein powders. So if you have prospects that are looking for healthy hair supplements and prospects that are looking for skincare supplements, those group of customers need to be targeted with very different ads and honestly need a completely different experience because you're leading with two different either problems or solutions. So you can segment those customers based on the types of ads that they've clicked in the past and then target them with the most personalized ads possible. You can also target your customers based on, how many orders they've made, what they've ordered, their customer attributes. This level of segmentation is really crucial for increasing your personalization that you're providing, especially pre-purchase. Next. And I know I was short and sweet and quick here, but if there's one thing that you should be taking away from this presentation, it's really that you need customer data to create that personalized shopping experience for your customers. And with that said, that is all that I have for y'all today for my one thing.
And what a tee up. Let me tell you, it's almost like somebody planned this. Let's go from segmenting to segmenting, personalized to personalized, to digging in to the one place that the best insights are going to come from. Aoife, Octane AI, have at it.
Awesome. Thank you. So today I'm going to be talking about our new product, which is our Insights Analyst. And with Insights Analyst, you can get breakthrough insights from your product reviews in seconds. We can go to the next slide. So what we know is that there is a ton of value in your product reviews, but it can be very time intensive to read or analyze them all. And I have some numbers here that I just wanted to go through really quickly. So the time it would take for a human to read 10,000 reviews, 80 hours, obviously a very, very long time. Time for a human to analyze those reviews, impossible. But with our product Insights Analyst, you can do this in less than 3 minutes. And like I said, there's so much value in your product reviews. It's where your customers can be very honest, tell you what they don't like, tell you what their experience was. So we wanted to make that just a lot easier for you to read and analyze and not take up too much of your team's time. We can go to the next slide. So I'll just quickly touch on how it works. So what you'll do is import your product reviews to Insights Analyst, start your research task, and then get your answer within 3 minutes. I'll go through quickly some of the research tasks that we've seen customers use. And the one that I've shared in the GIF here is basically one of our customers who used Insights to figure out what their customers were not liking about one of their products. And what they found is that a lot of people were struggling with the sizing. And the result there is really going to be the action that they take from that feedback. So what they were able to do is add a size finder to their product pages and just help their customers a lot more with the sizing. There is a ton that you can do with Insights Analyst. You can really give it any task that you need. But some of the things that we've seen are analytical tasks. So asking Insights to identify some of the positive and negative trends in your products or any seasonal trends as well. You can use it for strategy suggestions. So you can use it to figure out your next product line, or you can really use it for anything. So educational content, promotional content, while using the feedback in those reviews to really tailor the content within your task. We do have a bunch of prompts on our website. So if you're kind of trying to figure out what you should be asking Insights, we have some help for you there. And we can go to the next slide. So my takeaway is that there is money in your reviews, and make your life easy and have Insights Analyst find it.
Oh, if I could reach to this screen and hug that one little line about using it for your next product. When marketers get away from marketing and start thinking about something that can lead to a fundamental shift, a step change in a business. Yes. Oh, but I know what you're thinking, dear audience member, right? Is there anything between product being purchased and analyzing my reviews? Is there a step between that can also give me insights? Guess what? You're in luck. You're in luck. Bar from No Commerce, VP of Revenue there, is here to tackle that exact gap. Bar.
What an alley-oop. Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, we definitely are that middle ground, and there are tons of responses that you get from your customers that can help you produce better and more ads through those post-purchase surveys. So let's dive right in. So what is a post-purchase survey? It's going to sit right on your confirmation page, right after that customer has made a purchase. They just gave you your credit card or their credit card, and they're willing to give you so much more than that, right? Not just how they heard about you, what their age is. But if we click to the next slide, this is one of my favorite questions. What specific feature or aspect of True Classic or your brand do you like most, right? And because we get such a high response rate, we get a 45% on average response rate. This is a cheat code to be able to talk to your customers. And again, they want to talk to you. They want to give you answers. And what that's going to allow you to do is now that you're getting almost 1 in 2 customers responding to you, you're going to get thousands of responses. This is where the AI comes in, right? Now we can actually start to analyze those responses. And if we click to the next slide, see some examples of trends and even ad angles that we can come up with. So as an example with True Classic, what we found out was that a lot of their purchasers were actually women buying for their male counterpart, so her for him purchases. And they were able to completely flip-flop the narrative there, come up with a ton of ad angles using that question that I just showed you to come up with ad angles and start to target those female audience. Now that's 40% of their audience is now female. And again, they only sell to males, which is insane. So if we just click to the next slide, we can wrap it all up. Again, your customers want to talk to you, and you can use your customers to attract more customers.
I want to address the question that was just popped in, but I'm going to save that because I saw something in your slide that directly went back to Aoife's that I want to grab a hold of in just a second on that business use case. But I was scared to let this next presenter in because no one has filled me with more green envy than Lisa from Sienna. Every day I go to the socials, I see another human from the brand side just unadulterated, unpromptingly raving about Sienna's use of AI. I think it's one of the most complex and yet easy to understand and see once you see it. So to bring it to life, Lisa, take it away.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. So my principle is about reducing the fear of automation by leveraging generative AI to amplify your brand's voice. So adding that humanity piece, you can click to the next slide. So if we think about, how we've been used to up until today, 99% of brands express a common fear when I talk to them about automation. They just ask me, will I lose my brand voice? Will the essence we've cultivated over the years be diluted? And I resonate with these concerns because I understand how painful their past experiences have been when you look at, rule-based automation or traditional chatbots. And if you think about, your brand is like your baby. But what if I told you the age of losing your brand identity to automation is over? And I'm going to share with you how this is possible today. But first, I want to start by understanding the key differences between traditional chatbots, like you're seeing in this first slide. We have like 4 screenshots, which I've recently took. And I had some fun, but they left me a little bit sad. And generative AI. So the difference between the two, traditional chatbots, as seen in these screenshots, rely on pre-programmed responses, and they are like an interactive FAQ following a scripted pathway. They are not powered by large language models. So if a customer like me throws them a curveball question, as you see, they stumble. On the other hand, generative AI tools like Sienna understand context and generate responses which are dynamic and real time and are capable of having a back and forth conversation. They do not just react to user input, and they understand and compose. So imagine the difference between reading a manual and having a conversation with an expert. It's kind of like the shift we're talking about. You can move to the next slide. So if we talk brand voice design with our persona builder, you can literally sculpt your unique AI personalities for each channel, be it email, chat, even social media. And it's not just about names or roles, but you can actually give your AI persona a soul. So we have, for example, a LA cookie brand called Less Crumb. They've literally added as an attribute the name of Anthony Bourdain. Sorry if I'm not spelling it correctly, but it's this popular chef, right? And they instructed Sienna right there, as you can see in this GIF, to respond in the tone and voice of Anthony. So it's like extremely hilarious, colorful, and witty, but it just resonates with their brand identity, which is super controversial. If you've ever, come across Last Crumb, you know it. And it's not just about tech, it's brand identity and customer experience combined. If we click on the next slide, and as I wrap up, I want to talk impact. So what does this actually mean, especially in customer service? So I'm looking at 3 main aspects. It's personalization. So each interaction feels crafted for the individual. When customers are interacting with a tool like Sienna, they have no idea that it's AI. They just think it's their best friend, which sometimes can be hilarious. And it really elevates the customer experience. So not only that, but each response is dynamically generated as the system does not rely on macros or canned responses. Second is the empathy and brand voice. So if we look at customer service teams, they often face a dual pressure, speed and brand consistency. So with generative AI tools like Sienna, you can basically ease this by offering empathic and on-brand responses every single time without them having to stress about, I need to be like this, so I don't have to always keep in mind that I should sign off in this way as I was instructed. And then the third layer will be the efficiency. Obviously, it's just like, getting those optimizing for one-touch resolution. So you can click on the last slide. My suggestion to you is you don't give customers another reason to hate customer service. Choose your tools wisely, because it's not just about automation, it's about the intelligent evolution. And we are really on, like, it's an inflection point where AI doesn't just mimic human behavior, but amplifies the best parts of it, making those interactions smoother, delightful, and just human.
Oh, what a strong, visceral way to put it to round us out. Don't give them another reason to hate your customer service. Yes, yes, there's enough. Oh, yes, there's enough legitimate reasons that just cannot be avoided. We don't need another to add to it. All right. Well, if you haven't dropped in your question yet, please do that. I'm going to jump out here of the screen share and hand it over to Blake. Are you ready, good sir?
I am ready. Those were all amazing presentations. So much just knowledge there. I've got my notes filled already. I love it. We're going to answer a few questions before we get into an interactive discussion here. So as Erin mentioned, if you have any questions right now, please throw them in the chat, throw them in the QA. Let's get them for our panelists right now. We're going to start with Matt Covington. Erin, this is a question for you. First, he's complimented you and said that you sound like Tom Papa and you have great content. I don't know who Tom Papa is. Maybe I'm a little bit dated on that. But anyway, he says, what was the lift using AI on making a business case?
Yes. So that little nod that Aoife gave to reviews as a way to source new products. So if you're thinking about, right, the DNA of a business, what leads to step changes, legitimate leaps forward? There's all kinds of wonderful things we just talked about, right? But you're not going to get there with personalized SMS marketing, better customer experience. Triple L might get us the closest, as well as I would say no, with the idea of bringing them in, layering that with what Just Uno and Zipify do to increase AOV, to have that omni-channel experience. But it's still, what it's going to come from is the products you sell. All right. And that's also simultaneously the biggest risk, it's the biggest gamble any brand ever makes, is introducing a new line that is significantly different. That's an extension, right? That impacts not only the ad account to create new lines of revenue, it also impacts LTV by giving people the option to buy new, buy upgraded, buy something different into product orbits. And that's where I think, like, that just for me was such a shining moment of, that's right. It's not just about doing more of the same, but better. AI can actually be from your customers in a way that we simply don't have access to, given that I love the line of impossible. 10,000 reviews, impossible, right? And I saw the same thing when, Bar, you had that one little thing in there from True Classic, which, by the way, what a way to flex a great brand that you're repping. Breathable. There was that line, breathable. And I'm always like, does that mean that it's already breathable? Does that mean there's a play here for something that's specifically geared towards that? Is that a product change? Is that a new product? Is it a special line of products that where I'm just looking for those, not just what words to stress, but what leads to actual breakthrough? That's what I'm trying to stress there. And also, I have no idea who Tom Papa is, but I'll Google that after this.
So that's an action item for us to Google afterwards. Very well said, though, Aaron. Lisa, I saw you answered this question in chat, but maybe you could just speak to it. CH asked, can Sienna resolve issues or just answer general QA?
Yeah. So the way we're building Sienna is basically we want to tackle 80% of a brand's customer service inquiries today. So that includes both buckets, information-based. So think of anything that's product knowledge, FAQs, anything that has like a pre-written response or like a data source. And then also the second bucket, which is action-based, anything that requires action data and logic in order to be performed. So that can be order management, returns management, all of those scenarios that are much more complex.
That's huge. That's awesome. We have one final question here. This is sort of I think a huge question. So maybe we'll try our best to just summarize some of this. But anonymous attendee asks, are there AI tools or cases from these softwares to help with brand launches? How and which one? So I don't know if anyone wants to jump in on that, but I feel like anyone want to jump in and see about the brand launch question?
I do believe.
Oh, go for it. And then I want to hear Ezra on this one.
I do believe we have something that Shopify recently launched, or I think they are working on, that might help with the actual building of your website. So maybe keep an eye on Shopify on that. But I think there is a lot of room, like there's a big gap here, like how to actually leverage AI in building your brand, launching your brand. But I feel like Shopify has some great tools.
My video is not working. I'm in the middle of a lightning storm here, so sorry about that. Something shorted out with my camera, but can we get some clarity on, like, do they mean, hey, I'm trying to launch a brand new company and I want to use AI to support me with that process? Or is it like, hey, I've got a product within my company that I want to do a product launch on and I want to use AI to support with a product launch? Like, what's the distinction? Which one is it? Do we know? If not, I'll answer the first one because I think they're talking about, hey, I want to start a new company and I want to use AI.
Yeah,
to do
Ezra,
so.
we don't have clarity in that, but oh, there we go. Yeah, brand launch, correct.
Okay. So, AI is best used to optimize something that exists. If you're asking a machine learning model to be the creative inspiration behind a brand that you're going to launch, I think you're probably going to fail, right? Like, you got to bring something to the party. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't recommend that as a route. Now, hey, if you're launching a new brand, let's say I've been seeing a lot of these creatine gummies. I'm 30, almost 37 years old. I'm a dude. And so everyone's trying to sell me like testosterone and shit like that I really don't want, but I'm like constantly being told I'm not buff enough and I don't have enough creatine in my blood or whatever. In any case, these are all over the internet right now, right? So let's imagine that you are launching you've decided that you want to launch a supplement brand, you want to launch a creatine gummy. Okay, you got to go out and do the legwork, find a supplier, make sure you put together a good product, get some packaging done. Okay, now you're ready to write some copy. You're ready to get some inspiration behind like what kind of color schemes look good for supplement brands. You're ready, like you can use AI to support you with specific tasks in relationship to a brand launch, but you're not going to find an AI that's going to be like, hey, and look, there are AIs that are out there that will process all the orders on Amazon and tell you these are the top 10 categories. So you can use it also in some product research. So you can use it for specific parts of your brand launch, but you're going to be using particular pieces of AI that support you with a specific initiative within the overarching brand launch, not like one AI that's going to help you like launch a brand soup to nuts. It doesn't exist and you wouldn't want it anyways.
I couldn't agree more. I think like you'll see like on TikTok, Instagram Reels, all that stuff, people saying they can start an e-com store for $50 with ChatGPT. I think you're right. There's like things that you use to leverage to enhance, but at the end of the day, like you need that hybrid approach. And I couldn't agree
any
more.
One of those dudes is like, let's call it 21 years old, wearing ripped jeans, renting a Lambo, and maybe they made like $3,000 one day, but then you didn't hear from them 3 weeks later. It's like you're not building a real business doing that.
It's like the reels that are going around with saying you can finance a business on an Amex Platinum and then default on it. Those are the type of guys that have it. But anyway, I digress. Ezra, there's another one for you. A little off topic, but someone's asking, as a budding newcomer to the natural skin and hair care game, family business, give me one tip.
Well, one tip I would give you is make sure you have a webcam that works. Let's see, does this work? Hey, this is my backup right here, dude. I got a backup. That's kind of wild looking. My backup is not that good. Make good stuff, right? Like, a lot of people just go white label some bullshit, and that ultimately the best promise wins in the marketplace, right? Which is why marketing is so important. It's why my company name is Smart Marketer, because if you make the best promise, you will win the customer, right? You have the best video ad, the best sales page, the best sales copy, the best imagery, the best social proof. You're going to win a customer, but you will never win a repeat customer without a truly incredible product. And if you can't win a repeat customer, you will fail in business. So yes, you need to make a really compelling promise, and that's what everybody focuses on. But most people underestimate the value of product and the consistent like, for example, we're never done with our product. We might have a skin cream that sells really well. We're constantly looking at the feedback. Oh, it's too oily for some people. Maybe we'll optimize that, or maybe we'll make a new one based on that. We're making our packaging more sustainable. We're like constantly iterating and taking into taking into account the desire and feedback of our community to optimize our products and develop new products. And we try to make the best product on the market. Now, I don't think we have the best product on the market in certain categories. I do think in others, but it's like, that is our goal. We want to make the best product. And if you focus on that and you make the best thing for that group of people, you're going to, even if you only have 1,000 customers, you're going to get 300 of them to come back every month because you made something truly wonderful. And there's not enough emphasis and talk and content and enthusiasm and support for truly wonderful product development and integrity within product development. Another thing that we do is you could white label a skin cream, right? But the ingredients that are in that, where did they come from? And then the people that you got them from, where did they get them from? And if you trace back, we're talking about lotions and potions right now, right? So you said skincare. So if you trace back the ingredients within the ingredients in the stuff that you're making, you'll find a lot of it is not coming from good places. And so you want to do that level of work to understand, like, what kind of shit are you putting out into the market? And maybe you don't have the money up front to buy the best ingredients, but at least you understand where you sit within the marketplace. And as you make money, you can invest in continuing to up level the product that you're making through understanding what it is that's even in it. And so I think there's just like, the more emphasis you put on understanding what you're making and improving what you're making. And of course, you got to be a good marketer. You wouldn't be hanging out with all of us. You're already probably a pretty good marketer because you're hanging out with this crowd. So I don't think marketing is your problem. Anyways, that's what I have to say about that.
It's extremely well said. I think I've talked to a lot of brand founders in the pod the last couple of months, like, the Beard Brands of the world, the Midday Squares, and the product at the end of the day is like the core focus. And I feel like we just don't see enough content around that. So I think it's really well said, Ezra, to go back to fundamentals, make a great product and focus there, and continue to build over time. I think we could dive deeper into that, but in lieu of time, I do want to kind of push this forward a little bit and have a little bit of an interactive panel discussion if we can for the last 12 minutes or so here. So the way this is going to work, I'm going to ask our panelists a couple questions here meant to spark conversation. Panelists, I'm going to tee up one person at a time, and then let's jump into the question. And audience too, let's make this interactive. So if you have answers to these questions, you have additional questions, please throw those in the chat and we'll try to get to those too. So Aoife, I'm going to kick this one over to you. So we're all human, though AI is not, at least maybe now. We all make mistakes. Humans make mistakes. So give me one top AI mistake that we, the audience, should look out for, and then how can we avoid that? So a mistake with AI, and then how can we maybe avoid that?
Yeah, this is probably going to be a very basic answer, but I work in account management and partnerships, so it's a lot of emails. And when I first started using AI, I was like, this is going to be amazing. It's going to write my emails and save me a ton of time. And in the beginning, I was a little bit too excited, and I didn't really edit it too well, to be honest. So it just sounded like I was a total robot, and it did not sound like me at all. So I would definitely recommend just changing whatever it generates, making it sound more like you, and fact checking as well.
Can I jump in after fact checking?
Go for it, Ed.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So one of the projects I did was like a best e-commerce newsletters listicle, elevated listicle for future commerce. An amazing group of humans over there. And it's a banger, and it's picking up steam. And I kid you not, it was one of my very first forays into building a model that would then generate using the link reader plugin. And the very first email we recommended in the very first spot, the very first name was a human that didn't exist. And it was the CQ. It was our number one recommendation. The future commerce folks got hit up with like, hey, really appreciate getting mentioned. We don't know who blank and blank is. And it was brutal. Learn from Aaron Orndorff's mistakes. Hallucinations happen. What Aoife just said, fact check, not just for tone, but make sure the humans actually exist. I didn't know it invented things. I didn't know AI did that. I learned the hard way. You don't have to.
Lesson learned for sure. You be careful. Definitely double check. Do some due diligence. Still, it does not do the entire job for you. That's a great takeaway. Anyone else have a story to share about mistakes to avoid? All right, we'll move it forward. I want to talk a little bit about sort of tools and maybe plugins that we're leveraging with AI today? We talked a lot about platform and stuff that is enabling cool e-commerce use cases, but there's a lot more that we can apply back to e-com. So actually, I'm going to kick this one over to Lisa. I'm going to jump this up a little bit. I want to maybe see if there's any, aside from like the Chat GPTs, the Google Bards, are there any other AI tools or plugins that you might recommend we go check out to supercharge how we're using AI in our daily lives?
Yeah, I have 3 at the top of my head. 2 of them been using them, and 1 of them we're about to implement. So I also like Jasper for content that it's like very similar to ChatGPT, but it's like very much focused on, creating your personalized content based on your brand voice, and like a lot of like similarities with how Sienna translates that into customer service, but like put into content that can be distributed across your preferred channels. So Jasper is very cool. I also like Otter, which is the AI assistant that transcripts all your meetings, recordings, and now I think they've added a bunch of like AI features which summarizes all of your meetings. So it's really helpful when you have a lot of customer conversations, maybe internal conversations, so like easily can get you up to speed with everything without having to always take notes. And as a company, we're about to implement conversational intelligence tools, so like Clary or Gong. So I know that, for example, Clary have added also AI features. So that's specifically what I've instructed my operations team to do. Please, I'm looking for a tool that has AI functionalities. I'm not looking just for a tool that can help us record, but I want that tool to be able to summarize everything that's been discussed, help us like understand specific insights from, customer conversations or sales calls, and like easily can jump to those specific areas without us having to just spend hours doing that manually. So I would say Jasper, Otter, and Clary or Gong. I'm not sure about Gong's AI capabilities.
All huge game changers for sure. I think if anyone's not using an AI note taker at this point, like you're doing yourself a big disservice. I have it follow me everywhere, stand-up meetings, customer calls, anything. Like you just want to place a reference back, control F what someone said, look at the notes, action items. It's just such a level up in any case, whether you're working in software and e-com, whatever it is. Anyone else have any cool tools or plugins that they're using that they'd like to share?
Yeah, I actually have one that I've been loving. So for anyone who's interested in exploring personalized video, like for example, sending like a personalized video for, a prospect who abandoned their car or a customer who made their first purchase. I really love the tool Maverick. So you basically would film a video. A lot of brands are doing this where they're having like their founder film a video or someone on their like customer support team filming a video. You film one video, you can say something like, hey, we're a small business, like really appreciate you supporting us. And in the first couple of seconds, it'll replace the name, basically like you'd say, hey name, and it'll replace that with the customer's name. So it could say like, hey Blake, thank you for supporting us. We're a small business, like really appreciate it. And a lot of brands have been seeing a ton of success with their conversion by doing this, especially when they're doing it for abandoned carts. So I have been hearing a lot of good things about that tool from brands.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, there's so much use cases, I think, there. And it's amazing how much more personalized is becoming with the help of AI and still feeling, like that one-to-one touch. Anyone else before we jump to the next question here? All right. Let's go talk about knowledge a little bit now. So we talked about tools. We talked about some of the things that we're using in our day-to-day, but where you learn about AI can actually 10x how you use AI, because if you're just doing the same GPT prompts over and over again, some of those basic things, you can't really go from crawling to running, I think. We definitely don't want to listen to those Instagram e-com bros like Ezra was talking about earlier. So we definitely want, high quality education. So I'd love to understand where we can kind of learn more about it, whether that's, people, sites, newsletters, groups, etc. So SJ, I'll kick it over to you first. Anywhere that you're learning to use AI better, like any places that we can go check out and kind of level up that knowledge?
Yeah, I actually have someone on LinkedIn that I'm recently following closely, and I'll throw it here in chat for us. But their go-to is kind of like really optimizing your prompt, which I feel like we've all kind of alluded to in like taking the time to really make a solid prompt if you aren't using any of these tools at the moment. Like if you're just getting into it, like that's kind of what will set the best foundation. And Nicole here, Leffer, she gives some really great guidance and just how to make a solid prompt that you can then personalize for you as a marketer, as a brand, or just to like put yourself in the shoes of your visitor. When I feel like for me as a marketer, sometimes it's hard to go back to that, like, I'm just a consumer, I am no longer a marketer mentality. So that kind of helps pivot into, yeah, just being more creative. And I think what leads into like with AI, it's so interesting into how it can like speed up the feedback loop that we get into post-purchase, speed up just how creative we can be, because we get to like skip kind of those roadblocks in the beginning. But yeah, I follow her and I listened to her on a podcast and was very insightful and like kind of made me feel like, okay, I need to commit time to my prompt in like any scenario.
Love that. It's awesome. Anyone else have anything that they're learning from right now?
There's two resources I like. Also, SJ made me think of them because they're also related to prompts, because I like to think of like for ChatGPT, for example, I use it more as like an idea engine. Like it's not going to be my end all be all type of scenario. Like I'm just using it to come up with something new and fresh, or like maybe it's giving me new words that I didn't think of or new titles I didn't think of. So something that's helped me a lot with how I'm creating those prompts is Neat Prompts. It's a daily newsletter that comes out with some really cool prompts that you can try. And then also ecommerceprompts.com has a huge master list of some really cool, and I'll drop these links in the chat, some really cool prompts that you can use for like your homepage content, your product description pages, just like really cool ideas. And again, it doesn't have to be like end all be all, but it might come up with, you know, description words that you didn't think of before, or just again, coming up with some new ideas. So I can drop those two links in the chat for y'all to check out. I highly recommend it.
Do it. We'll get this whole thing. This is gonna be a killer follow-up email. My goodness. I want to say Cody Plofker from Jones Road Beauty, he's the CMO, as well as Ron and Ash from Obvi. They both did dedicated like long form emails. Cody's was literally on Sunday, and Ron and Ash from Chew on This, they did a whole like Google Doc of like everything they're freaking doing in their business with AI, and they were bangers. I don't actually know where you can get them, except for these are their sites, and then just tell them, send it to me. They were fantastic. I'll see if I can't track them down too to include them when we do the follow-up.
That's all huge. Everything's in the chat there. Maybe there's like a master thread or something we can do to follow up with these resources. Love all the stuff that's been mentioned here. We have 1 minute left, but Bar, we haven't gotten to yet. So I wanted to ask you just one final question. You know, we're literally living in, I think, a historical textbook moment here with how AI is impacting everything in business and e-commerce in general. So tell me, like, what are you most excited about for AI and like the future of where things are headed?
Yeah, certainly. I think where I sit, it's analyzing a ton of data and outputting actionable insights, right? Like I think the reality is that we're all sitting on a ton of data, but unless you actually take action from that and try to change your business, you know, there's not really a point to even have that data. Whether it's attribution, whether it's pre-purchase, post-purchase. So there's so many use cases from, you know, Cody at Jones Road is now using it for CRO, right? Like asking, is there anything that almost prevented you from purchasing today? Learning all sorts of things on how they can, you know, optimize their landing pages and their product pages. So I think the overall way that I look at it is taking a ton of input and churning out really actionable output.
I think that's the name of the game. You know, everything was super tactical today, but actionable output, you know, I think that's just a great way to sum it up and close it out. We could talk for days. I know we're at time. Aaron, I'm kicking it over back to you, but thanks everyone. This was a super awesome discussion.
Yeah, we will grab all the links that were just dropped. I'll solicit even more from the crew that was here today. We'll make sure to give you not just the replay, but also just a treasure trove in the follow-up email. So keep an eye out for that. Big thanks to all of our presenters. Big thanks to Blake. I'm never doing another one of these without you. Danger. Good, sir. Thank you so much. And if you didn't get any question, you still have burning answered, holler at us. There's a bunch of LinkedIn posts. There's a bunch of Twitter posts from various accounts that have all of us tagged in it. just go to any one of our accounts, holler at the person you want to hear from, and we'll see you again soon.